Welcome to today's deep dive. So glad you could join us for this one.
Yeah, it's a really fascinating topic today.
It really is. I mean, for you listening, we're pulling excerpts directly from a YouTube video transcript. It's titled HCC 1975-34B FB Retrieval Net, and it was uploaded by Gautamikala S. Raju.
Right, and it's just such a remarkable piece of source material.
Yeah, because today's subject, it might sound highly specialized at first, but it's actually this incredible look at the high-stakes, microscopic choreography of medical retrieval.
Absolutely.
It's all about this device that basically looks like a tiny snare with a fishing net attached to it, and they use it inside the human stomach and colon.
Yeah, and the mission for this deep dive is to explore, not just what this net does, like capturing foreign bodies or meat boluses and resected polyps, but the really surprising mechanical and anatomical problem-solving required to actually use it safely.
Right, because the human body fights back, basically.
It really does. The resistance is intense. We often think of these gastrointestinal procedures as, highly automated or tech-driven.
Mm-hmm.
But this transcript strips all of that away. It focuses purely on the physical problem-solving needed to navigate the digestive tract.
Okay, let's unpack this, because the basic mechanics of the net seem, well, deceptively simple.
Extremely deceptive, yeah.
I mean, if you just look at the tool on a table, it's like a grabber toy. The assistant holds a handle, they open their hand, the net opens. They close their hand, the net closes.
Right, binary operation. Very straightforward in the open air.
But the source notes this really crucial precaution right up front. The assistant has to close the net slowly.
Yes, slowly. That is non-negotiable.
Because if they close it too fast, the snare wire can actually capture the mucosa, right? The lining of the digestive tract.
What's fascinating here is how a seemingly simple operation requires just immense communication and pacing between the endoscopist and their assistant, to avoid massive collateral damage.
Yeah, because it's like zipping up a jacket too quickly.
Well, that's a good comparison.
Right, like you're zipping it up and you catch the fabric in the zipper. Only in this case, the fabric is a patient's internal organ. So the consequences are, severe.
Exactly. The kinetic energy of the wire snapping shut just pulls the loose, pliable stomach lining right into the loop.
Ugh, that sounds awful.
It is. And the source actually highlights a specific case where the net was closed too fast on the mucosa, and the endoscopist didn't even realize it was caught.
Wait, really? How do they not know?
Well, because of the division of labor. The endoscopist is looking at a monitor, driving the camera, but the assistant is the one holding the handle and feeling the physical resistance.
Oh, I see. So the doctor just sees the net close on the screen and assumes it's a clean catch.
Right, so they pulled, and because the net was anchored to the mucosal wall, pulling it caused a full-thickness perforation.
Wow, they tore a hole straight through the wall.
Yeah, which is why that tactile communication is just so vital. The assistant has to feel the difference between a polyp and healthy tissue through, 2 meters of flexible tubing.
That's terrifying. So we've established how easily this net can snag natural tissue. But from there, the conversation in the source naturally shifts to the danger of snagging artificial medical hardware.
Right, the stuff we leave behind on purpose.
Yeah. Like specifically, the transcript talks about piecemeal polyp resection in the right colon. So the cecum or ascending colon.
Yes, the endoscopic mucosal resection, or EMR obstacle course.
EMR obstacle course. I like that.
Yeah.
Because after an EMR, you've got this raw mucosal defect, right? And it's really common to close that defect with hemoclips to prevent delayed bleeding.
Exactly. You're basically stapling the wound shut with these little metal clips.
But then you still have all these loose polyp pieces hanging around that you need to retrieve with the net.
And that's where the geometry guarantees a collision.
Yeah. Because if the endoscopist tries to drag this bulging retrieval net full of polyp pieces past those newly placed clips.
The net acts like Velcro.
Right. The woven mesh gets tangled in the little metal prongs of the clips, and if you struggle to free it, you can just rip the clips right off the colon wall and reopen the defect you just spent 20 minutes closing.
It turns a successful procedure into an immediate perforation hazard. It's a logistical paradox, really.
But Dr. Raju has a specific hack for this, right?
He does. It's entirely about sequencing.
Yeah, the transcript says he moves the polyp specimens distal, so further down to the resection site before he even places the clips.
Right. You manage the spatial layout first. You push the fragments deeper into the colon, past the danger zone.
It's brilliant. It's like moving all your dirt to a safe spot by the door before you lay down a new rug.
Exactly, yeah.
You don't want to try and drag a heavy vacuum cleaner over the delicate new rug. You stage it first.
That's the perfect analogy. So when it's time to extract, you pass the empty net over the closed wound, scoop up the pre-staged fragments downstream, and then withdraw.
So the loaded net never has to scrape back across the clips.
Never crosses them. It requires incredible procedural foresight.
So we've talked about removing things the body grew, like polyps, but what about removing things that just shouldn't be there at all?
Ah, yes. Uninvited guests. Foreign body retrieval.
Yeah, the deep dive transitions into this, and it is wild. The net is used for removing food, like meat boluses, and also coins.
And they each present very different mechanical challenges.
Right, because with meat boluses in the esophagus, it sounds incredibly frustrating. The narrow space of the esophagus basically prevents the net from opening fully, right?
Yeah, the esophagus is a collapsed muscular tube. If a piece of meat is stuck, the walls spasm around it. So when you try to open the net radially, there's just no lateral clearance.
It just pushes the wires straight up against the meat.
Right, it's like trying to open an umbrella inside a pipe that's the exact same size as the closed umbrella. It just doesn't work.
Wow. Okay, but what about coins? The transcript gets really specific about the anatomical hurdles of removing a coin from the stomach.
The coin challenge is massive. You're dealing with a rigid metal disc. And to get it out, you have to bypass two high-pressure checkpoints, the G-junction and the cricopharynx.
So the gastroesophageal junction, that's the sphincter that keeps stomach acid from coming up.
Exactly. It's a vault door designed to stay shut.
Yeah.
And now you're trying to drag a flat, hard coin through it.
Which would normally just catch on the folds of the sphincter and cause tearing, but they use a cap-fitted endoscope to solve this.
Yeah, the cap is a game changer. It's this rigid little cylinder on the tip of the scope.
So they pull the coin tight against the cap, right?
They basically merge the coin and the scope into one blunt battering ram. And the cap stays just above the G-junction to keep it physically wedged open.
And then the transcript mentions a gentle rotation.
Right. You don't just pull bluntly. You torque it. The gentle rotation helps slip the coin through the dilated sphincter without snagging the tissue.
Okay, so that gets you past the stomach. But getting past the upper pharynx sounds even crazier.
It's the most physically demanding part of the procedure.
Yeah, because the airway and digestive tract aren't just a straight drop. There's a sharp curve at the back of the throat.
And you can't pull a rigid metal coin around a sharp corner on a high-tension wire without it acting like a scraper against the throat.
So what does this all mean for the patient? I mean, you can't just pull a coin straight up like a bucket from a well. You literally have to change the geometry of the patient's neck to create a straight path.
That's exactly it. The transcript explicitly details using an extensional jaw thrust and extreme neck extension.
So they're grabbing the patient's jaw from the outside and thrusting it forward.
Yes, while tilting the head way back. This physically pulls the laryngeal structures forward, taking that curved anatomical pipe and stretching it into a straight vertical line.
That is wild. They're manually warping the skeleton to fit the tool.
It perfectly illustrates the intersection of tool design and human anatomy. You know, the tool does the holding, but the physician must manipulate the human body's angles to actually make the extraction possible.
It's a full-body biomechanical intervention.
Truly. Which brings us to the final, absolutely mandatory step detailed in source material.
Right, because you finally get the coin out, it's sitting on the table, but the job isn't done.
Not even close. You have to do the final sweep. After removing any foreign body, the endoscopist must re-intubate. They go all the way back down with the scope.
To verify there's no damage.
Yes. They have to rigorously inspect the lining at the G-junction, the cricopharyngeal area, and the pharynx.
It's the ultimate check your work mandate.
Exactly. Because even with perfect technique, dragging a rigid metal object against high-pressure sphincters can cause microabrasions or tears. You have to be sure you didn't leave a secondary disaster behind.
For you listening, I think this just gives such a profound appreciation for the invisible, really meticulous problem-solving happening inside the human body during what we think of as a routine endoscopy.
Oh, absolutely. It demands total respect for the physical reality of the body. But, you know, reading through this, it actually left me with a final thought that wasn't explicitly covered in the text.
Oh, what's that?
Well, we've seen how much physical manipulation is required, right? From the jaw thrusts to the cap-fitted scopes, just to manually extract an object using a physical net.
Yeah, it's a constant fight against the anatomy.
Exactly. But as we move toward an era of ingestible microrobotics, how long will it be before a tiny remote-controlled drone simply navigates to the stomach and breaks down a coin or a food bolus from the inside.
Oh, wow. So it just dissolves it right there.
Yeah, making the whole fishing net approach and all this forceful anatomical manipulation a thing of the past.
That is a fascinating thought, bypassing the extraction completely.
Right. The drone neutralizes the target in place and it just passes normally.
I love that. Well, until those drones are in every clinic, that tiny wire net is still doing the heavy lifting. Thank you for joining us as we explore this amazing topic. Catch you on the next deep dive.